Hey folks, Granison Shines here. Today I want to ask you a question. This question was asked to me when I was about 20 years old. And it was one of the most complex questions I've ever had to ask myself. And it evolved over time. Here's the question. Who are you? Not what you have, not what you do, but who are you? Your being. When I was asked that question, I was in my early 20s, and I didn't understand. I thought I knew who I was, but when he took out what I have and what I do, I was stumped. 3 weeks. It took me 3 weeks of ruminating on that question to answer that question effectively. And I didn't have the full answer in totality to about a decade and a half ago. Or even a decade. And I'm still evolving. But after I thought about that question, and ruminated on that question, it absolutely stumped me. And I thought I knew who I was when I was that age, early 20s, but I didn't understand who I was. Not even close. Did I like who I was? I was accepting of who I was. We'll talk about acceptance here in a minute. And now, at 50 years old, when I ask people this question, there's this silence. After I say, hey, who are you? But not what you do, not what you have, who are you? Then there's this complete silence and the eyes go up because now they're thinking. And then I interject. I say, you know what? Don't even answer it now because it's something to think about. Most people can answer it in its first asking or inquiry of that question. Most people cannot answer it, and most people will not answer it effectively. And so when I got asked that question, I just sat and I just thought, and I was like, man, this is a tough question. Do I really? And then I asked the question to myself, do I really know who I am? All the things that I thought about at that time often went back to what I had and what I did at that time. And I kept thinking, okay, can't say that because that's what I have. Can't say that because that's what I do. And this is a question for everyone to find out for himself, herself. And when you find it out, if you ever take that thought process, the journey to take it out, you're going to have to accept some things about yourself in the interim. And if you ever find out, you'll be a better person. Every relationship you have will change. Say it again. Every relationship you have will change when you find out who you are. And your value will go up, your self-worth will go up, your self-esteem will go up, your self-confidence. Not necessarily your self-control. Your self-image may go up, depending if you like yourself or not. But at 50 years old right now, I love who I am as a person. I'm apologetic for who I am. I've also had to learn to accept who I am. So we have this graphic that I utilize that I got from the universe, and got this graphic called the Essence graphic. And it has these color spectrums in the middle. It's a triangle. And on the 3 outside legs of the triangle, one leg on the right side is called acceptance. In life, you will have to accept some things. And when you learn how to accept some things as they are, a lot of the frustrations, a lot of the complexities and the stresses will reduce. Some of them, not all of them, because people who are close to you, they'll be pushing your buttons. But I have noticed that relationships got better, longer, stronger. But accepting who you are is a tough thing if you understand who you really are. It is life changing when you understand who you are, but it is also very, very difficult to accept. Then once you accept who you are, people are going to come to you, and you're going to have to let them know who you are. Consequently, on the opposite side, when people show you who they are, believe them. If sometimes we want to force a relationship, we want to force something to happen, or force some behavior out of somebody by talking, communicating, then they can change and alter. But a lot of times, recognize the patterns. We'll talk about patterns later on. When people show you who they are, believe them. Consequently, when you're going to have to show people who you are, hopefully they believe that. And if you are authentic and you're integrous, they will believe who you are. But I promise you, it is tough accepting who you are when you really find out who you are. Because there are some things that you may have learned in the church, like me. I know a lot of that was wrong. I even read the Bible while I was in the church from cover to cover. A lot of things that were taught in the church did not align with the Bible. And so when I altered my mindset to match more of that principle, those principles and those lessons, and it didn't match up what the pastor was saying at the time, or other people were saying, I was like, it doesn't even say that. It's not even, and I took it literally. Another conversation. But however, you'll learn who you are if you take the time to ruminate. What does it take in order to learn who you are? Ruminating, meditating. You don't have to sit there with your eyes closed. You don't have to do that. That's not the meditation I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting yourself into a quiet place and understanding who you are as a person. You may have to write it down. But getting to a quiet place, thinking about who you are over and over. Think about some of your behaviors. Think about some of the nuances and complexities you have in your thought process and how you think and how your mind works, and mainly the mind. The body will follow what the mind will do. Focus on the mind. Tough, but you'll be you'll be a better person for it. Love who I am as a person. I make no apologies at all, not a single one. Live a good life, have fun. I have really good connections with people. But when you understand who you are, some of the things that come out of you, people may not understand why it's delivered that way. That's okay. You can try to explain it if you want to. I did. I heard it to my girls, then I backed off from explaining it. And there's so much in raising kids that come about, and it's just one of those things that when you understand who you are, all these things will come to fruition in terms of you culminating some thoughts about how it can and will end up. So who are you? It's taxing. It's very taxing to understand who you are. 3 weeks, man. 3 weeks for me of like heavy thought. I mean, deep thought. The challenge is going to be also you articulating who you are to yourself. And here's what I did, because I put a couple things together that I was learning about the affirmation principles. I looked myself in my eyes in the mirror and told myself who I was. One of the most difficult things in my life that I had to do. Because I kept doing it over and over and over, repetitiously, right? And it became easier for me to accept who I am. I know people who just don't like themselves. We end up talking sometime, they say, F my life, as in, fuck my life. And I'm like, wow, how denigrating of a statement can that be to oneself? I would never say that. Even when I didn't know myself, I wouldn't say that. Now, where I am in life and understanding things I do, I would never say that about me or anybody else. For somebody to say for themselves, oh, F my life, it's like, man, that is powerful. That person, I guarantee that person doesn't know who they are. And all the decisions and all the other aspects around their life shows, they can't see it though, shows me that they don't know who they are. From one thing to the next, not really centering on something, focusing on something, inconsistent, not persistently doing certain things. I mean, there's a myriad of signs that this person does not know who they are, or these people don't know who they are. And then sometimes we get into positions in the workplace environment from a professional standpoint, we still don't know who we are, they were trying to lead other people. Ooh, all bad. All bad. So I challenge you to find out who you are. When I found out who I was, I went to my mom and my dad. You know what? You're right about all this, about that. Sorry, blah, 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 blah. My dad, he was cool dude, coolest dude on earth. I went to him, we had conversations, understand who he is and everything else. And our relationship is good. Never had a bad relationship with my dad though. And a good relationship with my mom too. I had a good parent, I had a good childhood. But going back to them and saying, hey, you know what? My bad, I'm sorry. That was empowering to me because it gave me this release and I could understand, I could move forward. But it was nothing detrimental, bad. I wasn't in jail, I didn't sell drugs, no, I didn't do drugs and all this other kind of stuff. I think I was a pretty good son. Just to toot my own horn. They raised a good child. They did good. They did really, really well. I tried to emulate some of the things that they do to my girls. Totally different generation. Social media, the difference is vastly different. Understanding who you are will be so empowering that you have an opportunity to face some of the things and or people that you have in your life and be able to alter, change, renew, reestablish, rekindle some of the things that you may have lost. And it's an opportunity. If you ever go down that road, take that challenge of answering the question who you are, you'll find out a lot about yourself. You become so much more self-aware. And when you master self, that's the main thing you want. If you can master self, you can master anything else. Because mastering your mind, you won't be able to master your mind until you know who you are. Sorry, folks. Maybe to try to master it without knowing who you are, doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. And I see the young folk nowadays, and I was there too. I was there, thinking that we know who we are at that time, and not understanding what it really takes. And then us older people talk to the young people, and there's this disconnect at times, or they even think they know more than us. This Dunning-Kruger effect seems to set in. Look that up if you don't know what it is. I'm not going to be explaining things too much on here. It sets in, and it's just like, wow, they don't know shit yet. When I realized I didn't know anything, I was my mom and dad, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry, I didn't know a thing. And I realized I didn't know a thing. And I went on a walk one time, I was communing with the universe and just talking on God, and the epiphany happened. And tears came down my eyes because I finally found out some things that I didn't even know. I had it all wrong. I was like, wow. That was heavy. But as soon as that happened, click, like this light switch went on. Business started getting increasing better. More opportunity here in personal and professional. It's massive change. Massive, massive, massive change. Just from that one realization that I didn't know shit, thought I did. And then, one of the other things that happened, and I'll stop it after this, so all the things that I thought I wanted that involve complexity in life, I realized that the complexities in life, it's not about the complexity of life, it's how I can live life simply. It was for me. How I can live life simply. Keep expenses low, minimal amount of things that I have, not having a lot of material things, even though I have stuff. I'm not saying don't have things, but I've been there when I had way too much stuff. Oh my gosh. But I found out who I was. I was like, I understand how I can live more simple. And life became way more interesting with less complexities, with less stuff. And also less fake people in my life. So I'll stop it right there.